Folks, it seems America's thirst for justice is being served pint after pint of not creamy pints but corrupt lies. In a world where truth is often stranger than fiction, the beer-appropriate reference in this American political theater is nothing short of a blockbuster. This latest round involves none other than the convicted groper-in-chief, Donald J. Trump, and his hand-picked boy wonder, Brett Kavanaugh. The pair has been at the center of a storm that has left the nation divided and questioning the very fabric of its Supreme Court system. Remember him? The frat boy turned Supreme Court justice who apparently likes beer? Beer more than he respects women? Yep, that guy. His confirmation was by all objective means a debacle, a circus that left many wondering if the truth would ever come to light. Turns out, Genghis Don, a convicted sexual predator himself, allegedly had the FBI in his pocket, twisting their arms tighter than a tipsy Mullingar bouncer might on a Saturday night, all to protect Kavanaugh from those pesky sexual assault accusations. The lengths to which they went to shield him are both shocking and appalling. The report, compiled by the ever-diligent and reliable Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, paints a picture so grim, even Edvard Munch would reach for a happy meal. It's a tale of corruption, manipulation, and a blatant disregard for the truth. The Trump administration actively stifled the FBI investigation, limiting the scope, ignoring credible witnesses, and hoping it would just go away if they ignored it long enough. But the truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deep you try to bury it. The American people deserve better from their systems, and it's high time that accountability is demanded from those in power from this administration or the next. Not all of the settled law overturning justices were installed by Herr Trump. Let's not forget Judge Clarence Thomas, whose financial arrangements with conservative friends raise even more questions about the integrity of the Supreme Court. The intertwining of personal gain and judicial power is a disturbing trend, one which first world countries could not tolerate with the alacrity that the U.S. appears to accept. Trump himself benefited from the delays the Supreme Court afforded him in relation to his immunity claims, and he boasted gleefully about engineering the overturn of Roe v. Wade with help from his appointees. The implications of these actions are profound and troubling. The American people deserve better, and it's time they demand accountability and change. Restoration of credibility to the justice system must be the first step to restoring faith in their elections. If you can't believe the court that adjudicates over election disputes, then all is lost. And the combination of undermining of these systems represents a greater Trump crime than many of those indicted to date. The truth must prevail, and justice must be served, no matter how deep the corruption runs. Now, I'm no legal eagle, folks. I get my legal chops from watching Law & Order reruns, just like the rest of you. You know, those episodes where the good guys always win, and justice is served by the end of the hour. But even I can tell when the scales of justice are tilted so far in one direction, they might as well be a seesaw in a hurricane. It's not just a slight imbalance, it's a full-on storm. This wasn't just a case of boys will be boys or a he said, she said situation. No, this was something far more sinister, a calculated move to bend the rules and twist the narrative. This was a full-blown attempt to manipulate the system, to silence the accusers, and to install a man on the highest court who, by many accounts, should be nowhere near a gavel, let alone a robe. The stakes were incredibly high, and the lengths to which some went were shocking. The sheer audacity of it all. Trump gave them to believe that they were untouchable, above the law, and beyond reproach. Imagine for a moment that the accused were a person of color, a woman, or, God forbid, even a Democrat. The outcry would be deafening, the scrutiny relentless. But no, not our Brett. He was shielded by a network of powerful allies, a fortress of privilege. Part of the club, destined to interpret the law in a way that benefits the wealthy, the powerful, and the well-connected. It's a club that looks out for its own, ensuring that the scales of justice remain forever tipped in their favor. And so, we find ourselves questioning the very foundation of the American legal system, wondering if true justice was ever attainable when the scales are so blatantly tampered with. Just saying, OJ, MJ, etc.? If all is not to be finally lost, Americans must now, from a new administration, demand accountability, to push for a system where justice is not just a word, but a reality for all. Where does this leave them? Well, right now it leaves them with a Supreme Court looking more like the set of a bad reality TV show than a beacon of hope and justice. Public trust in the institution is at an all-time low, and for good reason. It's not just the Kavanaugh debacle either. It's the relentless assault on reproductive rights, the gutting of voting rights, the blatant disregard for environmental protections, and the multiple cozy relationships between justices and wealthy friends. Clearly, something needs to change. They need term limits for justices to prevent them from becoming too comfortable in their robes of power. They need a binding code of ethics to remind Supreme Court justices that they are as accountable to the people as every other federal employee, including other judges, and not to their own political agendas. And for the love of all that is good and holy, they need a system that prioritizes transparency and accountability. The days of backroom deals and shadowy manipulations must end. At this point, if it weren't so serious for the country as a whole, it would certainly be as laughable as the "I still like beer" outburst from Boofy Boy. But here's the real kicker, folks. The very idea that those in power might actually listen to the cries for change is laughable. Do I think those in power will actually listen to the cries for change? Do I think they'll suddenly grow a conscience and decide to do the right thing? Let's be real. The likelihood of that happening is slim to none. They are more likely to ignore the voices of the people and continue their own agendas. Let's just say I've got a better chance of winning the lottery while being struck by lightning on the late with Keelty. The sad truth is, those in power rarely relinquish it willingly. They hold on to it with an iron grip, unwilling to let go. They'll cling to their privilege and their influence with the tenacity of a toddler clutching a half-eaten cookie. It's a sad state of affairs, but it's the reality we live in. If this report does not inspire a democratic small d revolution, then all is lost. This isn't just about one judge or one president, folks. This is about the soul of America. If they tolerate corruption and injustice at the very highest levels of government, they surely must pay the price. The erosion of trust in the institutions is a dangerous path, one that leads to apathy, to disengagement, and ultimately to the demise of democracy itself. For your own sake and for the sake of the free world, rise up, ye mighty, and demand better. It's not too late to change course. We, the people, still have a voice. We, the people, still have the power to hold leaders accountable, to demand better, to fight for the soul of a nation. So let's raise our voices too, folks. To let Americans know that we stand with them, let's make a ruckus that those in power can't ignore. This isn't about left versus right, Democrat versus Republican. This is about right versus wrong, justice versus injustice.